Welcome to Soul Technology. My name's Don Brown. I've been with etnies, Emerica, S32 and Altamont now for 22 years. Grew up skiing in Europe with my good friend Pierre-Andre, who's the owner of Soul Technology. So right now we're in Lake Forest, California at Soul Technology. Got a little timeline over here of the etnies history. Once upon a time at the very beginning, Pierre-Andre, his early days in Paris, France, where he grew up. As etnies was developed in 1986, brand was actually called Ethnics at the very beginning. This is the first pro shoe ever made, the Natas Carpus. So this is one of the early shoes, the wrap right here. All the top riders were wearing these shoes back in the day. Christmas tree. So 1993 was an interesting point. The low-cut shoe right here was one of the most popular etnies shoes. Sal 23 was one of the most iconic favorite skate shoes in this period. But Eric Costin was one of the etnies team riders. Chad Musker was on the etnies team. Jamie Thomas. As we get into 96, 97, the themes, the trends in skateboarding really turned into more of a hiking kind of influence. Mike Valley there, one of the top street skaters at the time. This shoe was probably one of the top selling shoes. Alyssa Steamer shoe over here. So Alyssa was one of the first pro shoes that, for a girl. So down over here you can kind of see the art influence. And so this is me with Mark Newton and Ed Templeton and a lot of top artists at the time, where we had them color shoes and did our own little artwork. 2003 we created the first biomechanics lab for skateboarding that would test the forces that go against the body when you're riding. So that's where the gel technology came in, and a lot of the foams and all the technology we create in the shoes right now is all built around biomechanics findings. Bastian Benzi, remember that guy? Crazy little French dude? The man, the myth, the legend. Jason Lee, Chris Pastras, and we know him as Dune. Did a little collab with those guys back in the day in 2005, 2006. Ryan Sheckler shoe right here. Black Label, Stereo, and then Mikey Taylor. Got Jason Dill, fucking awesome shoe right here. But I hope you enjoyed that little timeline of etnies. But the main thing for etnies is we're 100% skater owned and one of the only privately owned skate footwear brands in the world. Here's some of the other shoes we have right now. So a lot of the Jameson shoe, we have a buy a shoe, plant a tree program. So every time someone buys a shoe, we plant a tree, and then we're looking at around 400,000 shoes are going to have planted. So these Scout shoes are just kind of lifestyle chiller shoes. These shoes so light. Come back. It keeps flying off. Right? Ryan Sheckler, you guys know Ryan Sheckler, right? Don't tell anyone else, but I can tell you guys, right? We're going to do some product launches for 2014. We're just going to do some fun little drops from the Creative Retreat. We're not going to have a big team or anything like that. A lot of the people around the world have been asking for S. So we're just going to have some fun and like create some products and drop it out there in the marketplace, but just limited edition to keep it tight. We did some excels for Japan about a month ago, and all the shoes sold out. It went crazy. It's pretty much the #1 selling shoe out there. So there's definitely a lot of demand for S, and everyone loves the brand. So we're just going to slowly kind of bring stuff back into the market and have fun with it. Coming up next, we've got Emerica. Wild in the Streets is one of the big events that we have for Emerica. Wild in the Streets is a big thing about how do we connect the communities around the world.
Actually, you started Go Skateboarding Day.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's like back in the early 2000s, it's something that working with at etnies, it made me realize that the thing that I really love, skateboarding, became this thing where I kind of transferred that energy into the business side of things with focusing on etnies so much that it was just like I was just working so much that it was like it took me away from the actual skateboarding. I was like, I gotta find excuses to go skate. So I figured that everyone in the industry was doing the same thing because they're so busy that they sometimes like I was looking at it, like you got Christmas Day, Easter, Valentine's Day, you got National Dog Day, you got all these weird days. So why don't we have a day for skateboarding? So it's something that when we're back in Costa Mesa, the headquarters, I sent a fax out to all the industry people there, from Volcom to Acme to all these different people in the industry, and said, hey, let's all just go skate down to the pier and back. So we probably got about 20, 30 people from the industry in Costa Mesa all to skate down to the pier and back, and it was just such a good experience to be part of a crew and a family and just having fun and smiles, and it wasn't about being tricks or anything. It was just about cruising and having a good time, and it's kind of where the idea spurred for Go Skateboarding Days. So now Go Skateboarding Day just hit its 10th year, and each year it's got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's pretty amazing to just see how big it is now. And it is actually one of the things that a lot of the wild in the streets, or the different events I've been to on Go Skateboarding Days, I've asked kids, or sometimes I don't even ask them, they just say that it's the best day of their life, and it's a pretty crazy thing to hear a kid say that a day is the best day of their life, because you don't hear people say that much. So,
my name is Timothy Nikloff. I oversee Emerica. I've been with the company for 13 years, and yeah. Our creative director, his name's Yogi Proctor. He was partly responsible with Pierre and Don of kind of identifying where each of the brands kind of sit in the market, and each has a distinct look. So the fact that it's green, there isn't really a reason why. Obviously green is kind of more of a melancholy color. I think Emerica is more of a melancholy type brand, so obviously there's that, but I don't know if there's necessarily a reason. Bishop Don Juan says it's green for the money and gold for the honeys, so maybe that's why. The green started in 97. The first year, actually, a lot of people, unless you're a nerd, Emerica was actually etnies. But the first shipment of Emerica was actually the etnies shipment. But then after that, I think Pierre and Don saw a need for Emerica, this 100% pure skateboarding brand in the market. Because at that time, action sports was kind of getting lumped into the BMX and surfing and snowboarding and all that. So there was definitely a need for etnies, and there was a need for Emerica and a need for S, and that's pretty much where they came from. The word Emerica came from etnies America, and the word from S was the first and the last of etnies, right? ES, and that's kind of where it came from. Heard it here first. Pretty much like a couple years ago, obviously the financial collapse and a lot of the challenges with the market, and S going on creative hiatus temporarily, it basically allowed Emerica the opportunity to kind of reassess the product offering. And we kind of looked in the market and said, man, like everything is stale. Like all looks the same. Like every shoe is either a rip-off of a Vans shoe or a rip-off of a Nike shoe. And that's just not Emerica's DNA. So really what we wanted to do is kind of take an approach where we invited the team in and said, look, I don't want you to think about what the shoes look like. What do you need to do what you do? Because these are the best, outside of skateboarding, these are like just the best athletes in the world. So what do you need to skate better? So we compiled, we built a lot of these shoes out of the necessity for skateboarding first. So the way they look obviously was a result of the things that the guys are into. Like Westgate actually was super into like more athletic styles, a lot of like kind of like the more running styles. And if you know Westgate, the shoe like totally fits him and his personality. At the same time, it's really designed for skateboarding, and I don't know if there are any skate shoe companies that are actually designing shoes for skateboarding anymore, believe it or not, because it's such a lifestyle. It's like, it's easy to make a good looking shoe. It's hard to make a shoe that performs well good looking. It's very difficult. And of course we, like even with Andrew's shoe, it's a cup sole mid top, but if you see what Andrew's doing, it totally makes sense, but Leo, it's literally he wants to skate barefoot, so it's super thin and sucked down to his feet and everything else. So we look at ourselves as the premier skateboarding shoe brand, and it's very difficult, I think, for a lot of companies to focus on their participant and say we're going to make shoes great for skateboarding these days, because right now it's like you have tons of kids who don't skate who could care less what the technologies are, they just want to buy a shoe. That's not Emerica. There's a lot of people that do that. And there's a lot of people that rip off other brands really well, and that's not Emerica. So we refuse to go down that route. We just came out with the Made Chapter 1 video, featured Leo Romero, Brandon Westgate, and Colin Provost, and we introduced a new rider, Jeremy Liabras, is a Filipino rider. We actually have a huge market in Southeast Asia. Is one of our biggest growing markets right now. But that video we just released in September, super good. I think the thing that made it a little bit different than a lot of videos that are out there is that we took a non-traditional approach. When I was a kid, we didn't grow up with a lot of money, so it was kind of like poor family household, and I always remember that you get cable channels for free on the weekend, and it was like kind of a big deal, like, oh, we can watch Cinemax this weekend, or we can watch whatever, For me, it was like watching porn like at 1 a.m, like, yeah, I get it for free, right? But the reality is what we wanted to do was do something similar with this video, because people sell the videos on iTunes, everything else. So we approached Thrasher and said, hey, we'd like to have a 3-day preview so everyone can see this. And if they want it, then they can buy it. And then on top of that, to make things even more interesting and to kind of defy convention even further, it was actually Heath Kirch, our team manager's idea. We employed the Radiohead philosophy, which is, now that you've seen the video, you tell us what it's worth. So on our own website, we said, hey, pay what you want. We gave a range between $1 or $10. The $1 is really just to pay for being able to download it for free. And the average download price was like $6. And it's funny because everybody was like, kids, the skaters are cheap, they're going to pay like 50 cents. And it wasn't the case. Like, people really liked the video and they paid more money for it, which is super cool. So we're working on Made Chapter 2 right now. And yeah, that'll be out probably about 1.5 years, 2 years. So we're excited. Can't tell you who's going to be in it. So we'll have some surprises. But Andrew's expressed a lot of interest, and we might be able to get another really exciting part out of Andrew in the video. So that's it.